If you are a smaller profile rider and overall really small and you ride dirt bikes, this is for you. Hi guys, Taylor with Bonecutter Off-Road here. I wanted to talk a little bit about how bike setup is super important and why it's even more important for us smaller riders out there. I am 5'2", 130 pounds, and whenever I first started I was 115 pounds, and so coming up off of a smaller bike like a TTR 125 going to a full-size bike was quite a bit of a transition for me, and I know it's a struggle for a lot of other riders out there, so I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about setup. When it comes to suspension, it is not one size fits all. It comes down to your height, your weight, your skill level, what kind of terrain you're riding, and most bikes in stock form, so if you go and buy a brand new bike, it's going to be the spring rates rated for 170, 180 pound rider. And as I mentioned, I'm 130 pounds. So that, like, for somebody my size, that is not going to work. And so the first thing that I always do, especially if I'm like not familiar with the suspension and what changes I want or whatever it might be, is one, get the correct spring rates for your size, and then two, set your sag, ride it, and go see what you need changed. A lot of times, especially if it's if you do enduro or single track type things, a lot of people need it to be softer. And yeah, I'm not too sure what we've done with my suspension, but I sent it off to JDP and he, I don't know, got it working really good. It handles, it stays straight, and yeah, so recommendation number one, it's not a one size fits all. Get the correct spring rates for your bike. Also, this is kind of geared towards more smaller riders, but keep in mind if you are a bigger rider as well, again, you are not going to benefit from having something not sprung for you. So get the bike sprung, do that first, ride it, see how it feels, and go from there. So after you get the springs for your weight and the sag set, Motool Slacker is a great tool. We use it here at the shop. We also sell it at the shop. That makes no math needed pretty much for setting your sag, and you can also do it by yourself. So that's very helpful. But let's talk about the fine tuning. So you get your springs done, and let's say you go ahead and get valving done too. The clickers are generally set in the center, and if they're not, I recommend making sure that they are and start from there. 2 clicks can make a pretty big difference depending on exactly what you're after and what you're doing. So don't be afraid to play with it and mess with it. You can always go back to where you started. And a lot of people have like a notebook or a notes tab on their phone talking about where they put their clickers at for what race and what place they were at riding, just so they have something to reference and know what worked in the past. And my best friend Mariah, she has a big diary on documentation of every little adjustment she's done. You can also play with the oil levels in your forks. That does make a little bit of a difference. I know at one point whenever I had my gas, we took, I think, 20 cc's out, and it made a world of a difference for me. Like, it wasn't as stiff as what it had felt, and especially with racing. So I do GNCCs, which I feel like the setup needs to be pretty stiff, and then I try to come ride the same stuff back home, and we got tight, rocky single track, so it doesn't work very well. I just try to soften it up the best I can without messing with the valving and this and that. So yeah, don't be afraid to mess with your clickers. And if you need help, there's always people out there that are willing to help you. So don't be afraid to ask for help. As I mentioned, it's not always just about the rider's weight or the rider's height. It's also speed and skill level is a factor in how you ride. I noticed that I am a plower. I just plow shit. I am not a precise kind of individual, and I want my suspension to save me if I mess up. And what I mean by that is, if I hit something completely wrong, I do not want to die because I didn't have my suspension set up correctly for it, kind of thing. Not good enough to take the hit. I will say it is very plush, and it holds up if I take a hard hit kind of thing, and it doesn't kick me. It doesn't do anything unpredictable. So if you are more of a, let's say, technical terrain, slower type riding, you definitely need a super soft plush setup. Otherwise, you are going to be beat to death and it will wear on you. So take an honest look at what you ride most and try to set up your bike for that. For me, I want my bike to work at GNCCs. As I mentioned, that doesn't really work very well here, but I just learned to deal with it because my focus point is GNCCs, and I want to be the safe that I can be there. When I first started moving up onto bigger bikes, we did lower my bike an inch, sometimes 1.5 inches kind of thing, and I got away from that over the last, I'd say, 4 years. I don't lower my bikes no more, but I do still get valving done and springs done and everything I need. Last year I tried to cut corners a little bit because I went from one brand of bike back to a KYB bike, and KYBs straight out of the box were far better than what I was using before, and I spent so much money on suspension, and that's also before I started using JDP. But I spent a lot of money, and I felt like I wasted a lot of money the previous year, so I just wanted to, put the right springs in. It was, less than $500 to do that kind of thing, and ride it under stock valving, and it was way better than what I had the year before. But after riding another KYB bike that was valved for what I needed and how I ride, it was wild the amount of the difference, and also it was a lot safer. And what I mean by that is, on the bike that was stock valving, it would kick sideways, it would be unpredictable on braking bumps and things like that, and I didn't realize it because it was better than what I was riding the year before, but it wasn't very good, to say the least, and it wasn't very safe. So if you have a bike set up to where it handles properly, it handles hard hits, it handles mess ups, it handles whatever you might be doing, it is a lot safer. And I can say this from personal experience. Over the years, I experienced a lot of injuries, and I can kind of connect quite a few of them back to poor suspension setup, poor bike setup, and also being very weak and not able to control it. And being a smaller rider, it is a lot harder for us to control the bike and handle a bike versus somebody that's 200 pounds. We just don't have the leverage, we don't have the length, we don't have the strength. I am pretty strong. I feel like I am doing pretty dang good in the gym, and I lift heavy weights, and I'm happy with where I am, and I want to continue getting better. But at the end of the day, we ride bikes that are over 200 pounds. So that's a big difference. And if you can do what you can to set up the bike to handle correctly, you won't have to worry about fighting the bike. You won't get the fatigue from that. You won't get the crashes from that. You won't be hitting, I'm not saying all the trees we hit is because the suspension sucks, but it's just one of those things. You won't deflect as bad. So take the time to invest and learn about it and use your resources. Talk to suspension people. There's hundreds of people who do suspension. You just got to figure out who works best for you and who is willing to teach you how to mess with your clickers or tell you what your sag should be, and whatever it might be. Just get comfortable with talking to somebody. I recommend JDP. He's out of Ohio, a great dude. He's helped me a lot, and honestly, I really think my setup I have now is the best setup I've ever had, and I've been riding dirt bikes for, I think it's been 12 years. So it's pretty cool. I'm very happy. And yeah, so I just wanted to make this little video to kind of encourage you guys to think about setup and think about what to do to be more confident on the bike and how to be safer on the bike, along with, I don't know, let's just have fun and ride dirt bikes, Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to keep putting out content like this, and also you'll see our races and some other things along the way. You never know what we might do next. Got any questions? Drop a comment, shoot us a message. I'm happy to help. I'm here for you guys. I want to I want to help the sport grow. So thanks for watching.